Alright, step 1. Deprime your brass. Deprimer set to the right depth. Put a piece of brass in it. Primer pops out. Step 2. Deburr and clean your flash holes. You can do this with a manual tool or get one of these automatic ones. Empty primer, put it on the Deburr or the Decrimp tool, put it on the clean tool. Now your primer pocket is decrimped and it's pretty shiny, it's clean. Each time you clean one, get a brush and just wipe that off because fouling and brass will collect on here and it doesn't get a full seat and won't clean the next shell. Once you're done cleaning the primer pocket and decrimping it, get some case lube. You need to lube your cases for resizing. Make sure you get a little in the case mouth, and that'll help it move along on the die a little bit easier. Now it's time for resizing. Move to your resize die. I'm going to make sure there's a small gap between the top of the stroke of the press and the actual die. Go ahead and insert a case. Push down with a little force. Now you're resized. Now we're ready to trim our cases. So get your clean primer pocket and resized case. They expanded a little bit during the firing process and the resizing process. You'll also need a set of digital calipers. Go ahead and zero them. Insert your case. Insert the cutting tool. Lock down the case. Once I hear that metal on metal sound, that means this stop over here has touched the frame of the cutter, and we should be at the right length. I can remove it or remove the case and I'll measure it. Looks like we're a little long on this one. And honestly, I forgot the case length. Case length should be maximum 1.75 inches. Actually, we're right on. We're 1.752. So we're 2/1000ths of an inch high, which is perfectly fine. So I'll set that case aside. We shouldn't really need to measure anymore if you don't need to, if you don't want to. They also have drill adapters for this, so you don't have to do it by hand if you don't want to. Next up is trimming and deburring. I'm sorry, not trimming, deburring and chamfering. Go ahead and switch on your machine. Do this one first and this one. Put the case mount on it. You can use light pressure. You'll eventually get a feel for it. Now it's all clean and deburred. Now it's time to prime. So we've deprimed, decrimped, resized, trimmed, and reprimed our breasts. Now we're ready to throw some powder loads in them. This is a Hornady electronic powder thrower. Works okay. You'll see it kind of misthrows powder sometimes. It goes over a lot. It might be the powder type, I'm not sure. I'm pretty new to this. First thing we gotta do is calibrate it. Has these two weights here you use to calibrate. It's asking for 10 grams. This is the 10 gram weight. Set it on there. It'll, I think, beep when it's ready. Actually, you gotta hit calibrate. Alright, now it's asking for the 50 grain. No, that's grams, not grains. Calibrate again. It passed. Good to go. Go ahead and I spin that to get some of the excess powder off. Go ahead and put our little powder plate. Then we want to zeroize it. We're zeroed, we're ready to go. I'm loading up some Sierra Match King 77 grain boat tails. So I'm starting my load at 20.8 and I'll work up to 22. So we'll go ahead and throw some 20.8. Throw it in there. You can adjust the speed, set it on the slowest one it has. I do. Dispense is better. Hit dispense and it'll start throwing powder. It went over 21.1, so we do it again. This is accurate 24.95. It's the only powder I could find. I'll raise this up so you can see. Looks like 20.9. That looks good. I'll go 1/10 of a grain over. Now that we have our powder thrown, it's time to put some bullets on it. Now that our bullet's on, and before I crimp, I measure a few rounds to make sure they're they'll fit in the magazine. 2.256. 2.250 is about the max I want to go. It's 5 thou over. I think it'll be alright. Let's measure another one. .258. Actually, let me look at my reloading book. Cartridge overall length. I keep forgetting what I'm loading. We are going to load at, these are 77 grain. We're loading at 2.260, so those are in spec. So everything should be good. Now we're going to go ahead and crimp it. Turn over to your crimping die. I already have this one preset to give me a little bit of crimp. Push down. Check your crimp, looks awesome. Keep going. Now for the concentricity gauge. What we do, we stick them in here. We check to make sure the bullet axis is going to be lined up perfectly with the barrel. So if you watch this needle, that's perfectly fine. If it goes any more above 1 notch, I'll usually adjust it. So maybe we'll get one in here. I'll show you how to adjust it. That one's dead on. So you go to the low point in the needle, twist that little knob a little bit, and it makes it a little bit better if you have one that's off. And just get it to where the needle doesn't move when you twist the round in the gauge. It can be a little tricky to get in here sometimes.